Finito, the finale, whatever you want to call it, back in the Champions League with 3-2 win over the Bin Dippers. What else do we need, right? Was it a perfect game? No. Was it an entertaining game? Depends which half you're watching. But we have done the unthinkable. 15th back to the Champions League. Most people have written us off, but not us, not the real fans who just knew that something was off last year. This year, we put it right. Carrick, has he got the job? Has he not? Come back, see the show later at 9 o'clock tonight. But right now, let's just go through the player ratings. Let's go through what actually happened on that pitch. Do you agree with Kobe Mainu getting man of the match? You'll find out whether I do as I go through the ratings. But let's be fair. Some people turned up and some people didn't. Did they bottle it under the pressure, or have they just come back a little bit too soon, got a few knocks? But the first and foremost thing for United was 3 points. Most people thought we had done it yesterday with Brighton losing to Newcastle. Not quite sure how, but considering the results today, still meant we needed a point. At one point, no pun intended, that single point would have been perfect when we got back to 2-2. But, it was a long game. Very, very long game. So let's start off with what actually happened. Like 2-0 up very, very early on. Do you know what I mean? Like 14 minutes into the game, we're 2-0 up. And in my head, I'm just going, oh, please. I talk about mindset all the time. Just go back 0-0. Pretend those goals didn't happen. Because we kept pumping forward. And I was like, well, we're going to have to pass the ball around at some point. We can't just keep counter-attacking. And we saw out the half, and then, Jesus Christ, as you would have expected, the other team's going to come out and come for you. 47, bang, 2-1. Then what was it? 56, 2-2. And, oh, God. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Probably Lemon's worst game for the club. So we'll start with him. I see a lot of apps and things like that have given him like a 4 out of 10. I ain't going that low. So for me, it's a solid 5. But made 3 saves. One he didn't really know about. But the goal was... The goal he gave away when you're playing out from the back and always knocking it long, passing out, these mistakes are going to happen. You either do it consistently or it goes wrong. And all it was, he just passed slightly off centre when the player set himself. Shit happens, but for me, it was a 5. Before we go any further, Danny, good to see you. Yes, big win, but we should have killed the game off in the first half. Totally agree. Should have easily been 4-0 in the first half. Mainu man of the match. I didn't really think so myself, but you'll see why. Dallo, Grace, lovely to see you. Dallo showing at the end why he needs to be the striker next season. Yeah, that one into the box. I was just like, just hit it across the keeper. If he saves it, it's a tap-in for the players coming in. But, that guy has more nosebleeds in the other team's 18-yard box than any player I've ever seen. We all remember the lob last year. That was horrendous. So let's go to Dallo, Grace. Not sure how you saw him do, but for me, he sort of done his job. I'd say going forward, picked up his runners. Gakpo didn't really cause any problems. Wirtz didn't cause him any problems because they kept tucking in, so he only had to deal with Robinson. I'd probably give him a 6 out of 10, which is, perfect Dallo in this, really. Like you said, going forward, crossing, as bad as always. Finishing, he finishes like a right back. We've only got to look back. Valencia was the last one we ever used to have. No, Grace, it wasn't a 12 out of 10 performance. But you can have him as your man of the match if you think so. But Gary Neville, never scored many. Valencia was the only right back I ever remember putting the ball in the box. Sorry, in the bag from the right back position. And we all know why, because he was a winger, not a striker. Winger, not a fullback. Get my words confused. Maguire, I thought they didn't really test him. Done what he needed to do. For me, looked solid. no real mistakes. They, like I say, they didn't really test him. Obviously, he had that amazing block. That was worth 10 out of 10 in the first half. The one line on the floor. I thought it was going to be another Phil Jones sort of moment. So for me, I would give Harry Maguire a 7. I think his defensive partner in Heaven didn't really hear much out about, you know, anyone challenging him. He put in a couple of good tackles, drove out the back line early on, drove forward with the ball, beat a couple, but then no runners after him, which frustrated me. So he had to turn around and pass back, but he drove on about 30 yards and had to pass backwards. So for me, also a 7, because him and Maguire, they are just working as a pair. And, we can't ask for any more. He is a young player, so that is what we need to see constantly. Then Luke Shaw. Kept quiet, Luke Shaw, but he would even be playing. Wasn't really spoken about in the press conference. When asked, all were available. He sort of just, yeah, it's been a good week. Just mentioned certain players were back on the grass. Cunha was a smaller knock, so he hinted at Cunha, but stayed away from Luke Shaw. Obviously, the preview Friday night, I said maybe was going to be our weakest problem. Did Mazrari play there? Euro, Dorgu or Malacia? And it turns out Shaw was absolutely fine. Not sure about his booking. Personally, I thought it was a little bit hard done by. Yes, he did slip. Yes, he did leave his leg hanging there, but Frimpong definitely kicked into it to make sure there was contact. Was bombing up and down the wing. Didn't really put a foot wrong at all. So I'll probably go for a 7 on him as well. So yeah, 7, 7, 6 across the back line. And the only reason I give that is to Dallo and not a 7. And Grace, you're not going to like this, but it's if we're giving him so much of the ball, I just need him to do better with it, because every time he sort of drives forward and nothing becomes of it, it's a lot of extra work the whole team have to do. Whereas you'll notice when Shaw comes forward with the ball, he puts a decent ball into the box. They have to defend it, but he crosses from deep, doesn't need to do a complete overlap to get to the byline. And it just means as a team, on that side, we're doing less running, but on the right-hand side, everyone has to cover him. And he's not the fastest player to sprint back. Danny says, off the ball, Shaw was solid, going forward, poor. But we were poor down that side. We're always poor down the left-hand side. At the end of the day, they're a fullback, not a winger for a reason, Danny. And I always say that. You don't find many great fullbacks at crossing the ball, or there's something else that they should have been doing that stopped them from being a winger. I'm a highly admirer of the left back from West Ham, who can absolutely throw a ball in the box, but physically he can't get up and down the pitch. So there's always a trade-off. Dallo's ceiling is always a 6, never goes over that. A little bit harsh. He has had a few good games, but it is. But what's wrong with a 6 or 7 in your team? They're solid players. If you can give me a 6 or 7 every week, I'm happy with that. That's solid. It's never dropping down. But the problem is he does have his 3 and 4 weeks as well. So yeah, let's move on to the midfield. Now, this is a game of two halves, no pun intended. Casemiro, first half, I thought absolutely superb. Second half of the second half, came back into it. But I don't know what Liverpool done at halftime or what we changed by bringing on Ahmad and then Mbeumo going up top. But the midfield opened up, hence the reason they got their goals. They just cut through us. It was like watching Ten Hag from last year, where it was hot knife through butter, non-existent midfield. We probably got away with not conceding a third or fourth from them, just from their bad pass choices. But I thought Casemiro, again, absolute solid in midfield. Won the tackles that needed to be won. Some of the headers he won were unbelievable. The hang time. There was one at the back post in the second half where he just highest player up the pitch, and I thought, he's never getting that. And it's as if he must have had 2 hands on the shoulders. He just stayed in the air for so long. But yeah, some of his passing, debatable. There was one which obviously we all saw it, and it would have been contended for goal of the season, I reckon. Casemiro fired one came down with snow on it. Bruno pulls it out the air, first touch, plays it back, and Bumo with the back heel clips the post and stays out. You know, it was a horrendous pass, but Bruno made it look like a well-class pass for him. And that would just been an unbelievable goal, personally, for me, kind of the football I like. Mainu. Now, so Danny's already said Mainu man of the match. Now, he's been given man of the match by Sky. Obviously, I'm doing this, so if anyone else is popping him out man of the match, I'm not necessarily sure the man of the match was even on our side of the pitch. But obviously, I'm not going to go over the Liverpool players. He was out of position a lot, especially in the second half. And thank God he was, because he wouldn't have got that winner. And the winner was superb. Calm, composed, right foot, strokes it into the far corner. And I reckon if he missed, we got a penalty for it anyway, because he was absolutely flattened after the shot. So, it went in. But there was their first goal when Ahmad gave the ball away. Mainu and Casemiro were ahead of the play. So obviously big hole. Now, whether that was to a stale Ahmad coming on, playing the wrong pass, and they were where they should have been, they don't have the pace to recover. And it's definitely one of those things you hear me talk about a lot, saying one's got to sit if one goes. We've got enough players forward. That's 6 players forward. 7, we only need 5, right? 7's too many. And yeah, they've just cut through us, didn't they? Knife through butter. But Mainu, good touches again. They're still growing as a player. I really hope this guy gets his chance for the England call-up. He should definitely be in like the 30-man squad or whatever it is before the World Cup, and see if he can cut it down to the 26 and he stays in. But for me, I'm going to give Mainu a 7. I don't think he was an 8 out of 10 at all, which is the he's been given by other people. But you let me know if I'm wrong, and you always do, and I appreciate that. Cunha for me didn't really put a foot wrong. I thought gets the ball, drives forwards, or we probably don't give him the ball enough. Kept tucking in, probably the only criticism I could give him. I think he could have gone on the outside of the fullback once he got the fullback booked. Curtis Jones already gave him the big yank back. You've got to keep running at him. You've got to keep giving him the ball, letting him drive at the fullback. Let's be honest, see if you can get him sent off, because that's what you do, isn't it? Great goal. Absolute great goal. Again, early doors. He's an absolute live wire. Always seems better at the beginning of the game than he does the end of the game. So that's a player who gives you 110% throughout the match. Crossing, probably that's the one aspect he's got to work on, but he's not a wide player, is he? We've all said before he's sort of an 8-10. And if we want a wide left player, the man Dorgu back off the bench, it is that player. So for me, though, I thought Cunha literally picked the ball up, gave the ball when he needed to, worked hard defensively with Luke Shaw. For me, he was our best player. So I'm giving Cunha also a 7, but I'll give him a 7 with man of the match. Okay. I think front of our line was all 7s across the board. So I'll give you that heads up now. And Bumo, first half, superb. Running, picking the right passes out, everything. Playing him up front as a lone striker basically got him substituted. It's not really his role. The only way you can do that is if you're playing someone like Tottenham, who want to gamble and be on the halfway line and give him space to run in behind. Up against Van Dijk, who can actually cover the ground. Not the best idea, although Van Dijk's been shit all season. And Konate's not much better. So I can see where he could have got the better of him, but we didn't utilise it. We became predictable, long balls over the top, into the corner areas, then cut it back towards Bruno, trying to get Bruno the assists. And I would like to see that stop. Danny says, agree with getting the winner was the difference between Manu and Cunha for him today. Yeah, exactly. But Cunha starts the ball rolling. So it's a goal apiece. Yes, Manu got the winner, but it's one goal apiece. Sometimes think the first goal is the most important goal. But there was just other aspects, winning the free kicks at times and things like that that just help you move up the pitch. And that's what Cunha gives you. Well, he gives it to us every game. So, yeah, Danny, I love to see Cunha in the 10 for at least one half. Yeah, me too. Me too. I just think a front line of Mbumo, Cunha, Ahmad, and Sesko would rotate really well. But Cunha would probably leave our midfield even more exposed from what Fernandez does Casemiro. So, because don't forget, Bruno still pushes forward and plays as a 4-4-2 at times. So, it's just one of those changes. Whoever the manager is next season, I feel we need to look at controlling that little space, that half space between the midfield and the defence of the other team. Do we stay in it or do we drop out of it and then move into it so we can create space opening up? Something we didn't do today well at all. But Bruno still had a great game. I feel for him. There's no way he's getting the assist for that Sesko goal because obviously the keeper gets the touch on it. Although it's the smallest of touches, and I've seen people giving assists. So who knows? We'll wait for the results maybe Monday or Tuesday to see if he's on to the 20. But he's still got 3 games to go, and I'm sure he can get 2 assists in 3 games. But worked his ass off, ran round, didn't press from the front too much. I did notice that he was dovetailing out to the left to cover for Cunha when Cunha tucked in too much and pressed. So worked his backside off, captain's performance, and as I said a minute ago, 7 out of 10. So Danny says the assist was given in fantasy. Yeah, I don't think it's a save, is it, from the goalkeeper? So that's why I could give it, but it's definitely a touch that puts it onto the player. If he doesn't touch it, does it go all the way through? Does that touch take enough pace off it? So who knows? But if fantasy's given it, then that probably will be given to Bruno, and that'll put him on 20 for the season. And that is a round of applause because he's up there now. Henry, De Bruyne, Fernandez, all 20. 3 games to get the 1, maybe. But just aim for the 2, right? Put it out of doubt. And then someone else has got to come in and get 23. So just going to push for an assist every game if I was him. So Cunha, Fernandez, and Mbumo. Yeah. Let's move on to Sesko. Dragged off at halftime. Obviously, in my opinion, done nothing wrong in the first half, got his goal. They're saying he was struggling to move a little bit, but I never saw him take a knock. So I don't know if he was carrying one. He certainly didn't get fouled. So I don't know if he turned his ankle slightly or maybe just catch on the back of the Achilles or toe or something like that. But yes, as Danny says, Big Ben up front was absolutely solid. Occupied both centre-backs at times. Done everything I ever ask of him. Just get moved from centre-back to centre-back. Don't let them know who's got you and allow space for everyone else. If you remember in the preview, I said about how he could pull the centre-backs back and create a second or third man run. Hence the reason we did that. And he kept the defence with the dodgy clearances. That's all you need. Couldn't you have done the same when Mbumo went off or Ahmad's winner, Mbumo's winner? But we just need that link-up play. So, and sometimes I think we're running too fast. We're a little bit fast and furious, and the control needs to come. And maybe that's something in pre-season. But for me, Ben, 7. I'll tell you what, he was probably on for a man of the match performance, the way he was linking the play in the first half, winning the headers when he needed to, running the channels, never letting any balls be allowed to be played too easily. So I hope it's just a little tweak and he's okay for the next match. Probably from being thrown. Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, when Canate nudged him in the back and he smashed his head onto the thing. So he might have been running, bit of concussion. He did half go into the barrier hard down the hill. Always said that myself. Although it stops long throw-ins, the drop-off at Old Trafford, someone is going to break something one day by getting nudged down there. Obviously, hope we don't utilise it enough, nudging the opposition into it. But that's the dark arts of the game. So yeah, good point there, Danny. Good point. But I did think the ref was an absolute joke. There was so many fouls on both sides of the pitch that he didn't give. Nudges in the back, slamming into people. There was one on Soberslide where we didn't get the foul, so we fouled him, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's a foul and probably a booking as well, and the ref played on. So, hey, that's football. So, yes, guys, for me, Cunha, man of the match, sneaking it. For me, because of the first goal, because of the free kicks he won us higher up the pitch and take the sting out of the game. Mainu, I can totally get it. If you turn around to me and said, no, Mark, you're wrong, it's Mainu. He got the winner. Absolutely. And there is nothing between them. Both goal scorers. One gets the first, one gets the last. Both gave us everything for 90 minutes. And yeah, I can't really ask for more. Substitutes. Ahmad on at half time. Obviously, sloppy pass. Massively under hit. If it was for Luke Shaw, if it was Harry Maguire, massively off target. So it's one of those. You come out, you do your warm up, you do your sprints, you get going, but you're not out there passing the ball and just getting the ball moving. Unless he stayed out at half time, which if you're at the game, please tell me whether he was. But from that pass, it really didn't look like he did. But then after that, didn't really do anything wrong. Tracked back, helped Dallo out on the right. I'd probably, solid 5 out of 10. For a half, he probably should have been higher, should have managed to get 6, but, did cost us a goal. And there was a few other aspects of the game, which at the moment, I just want to see him drop them out of the way he's playing. Dorgu, thank God, made it back. Last 2 games, it's going to be great. It means we can rotate with Cunha and everyone on the left. It gives us more of a choice because that left-hand side, we have been struggling big time. Came on, obviously stacked it in the box or on one of those ones, whether he tried to turn or just lost his footing, I don't know. That was quite comical. What else? Got the ball, drove into the space, linked up well. I'd probably give him the 6. Like I say, didn't really make any mistakes. I'm only dropping Ahmad to a 5 because of the goal, but he didn't do anything to gain that back. And Dorgu didn't do anything to drop points, so I'd give him a 6. Xerxes came on near the end, 87 minutes, something like that. And Lenny Yoro, if you're giving them points, you're giving them a 6. They didn't have enough time to do anything on the pitch. They were there just to wear down the clock and chase the ball around. And Yoro obviously there to just stiffen up the back line where needed. And he did that. Carrick, I think, got lucky. I think he got lucky in this game. 2-0 up. I would have liked to see him screaming at the players to go for the throat. I think the Ahmad substitution at half time. Okay, question, guy. We're about to wrap this up, but question for you. Come back in the comments afterwards. I'm not going to read it out now in the chat, especially with you guys over on X, so please come over. He brought Ahmad on at half time for Sesko and put Mbeumo up front. Surely Xerxes was, there you go, Danny's just put it. Xerxes was the better option, in my opinion, for 45 minutes. The fact that he then had to take Mbeumo off because it wasn't really working with him up front is proof that it was the wrong decision when Mbeumo was doing everything right on the wing, which would have still given us the counter-attacking football. So for me, he got that wrong. I'm going to give Carrick a 6 out of 10. We got the points. He's got us over the line. To quote the almighty show, The In-Betweeners, guys, completed it, mate. He's done it. He's done his job. Can you get us Champions League football? Completed that, mate. Can you finish in the top 4? I'll go for 3rd. Great. So right now, I can't ask for any more. For me, Mbumo was probably hard done by. Hence, like I say, I gave him the 7. He probably had potential to be man of the match as well after his first half performance. Danny, what are you saying? Mbumo was playing well on the right. Yes, Mbumo was getting crosses in, beating his man, getting in behind. Exactly. And that's probably what he asked of Ahmad to do as well. But Ahmad he shows for the ball. He shows for the ball, and that's not always a bad thing. But this game, it was don't show for the ball. Just bring your player, spin in behind, and go, which Mbumo was doing well. So whatever the instruction was, it was chalk and cheese when they came on. Guys, I am back at 9 o'clock tonight. Okay, we will do the review. I want to have my bank holiday, and there's no point waiting till Tuesday. So I'm going to do the review at 9 o'clock tonight, like a normal Sunday show. We will go into everything else in detail. Okay. Bring your questions, bring whatever you think. I've already got the thumbnail ready, so get in the comments if you want on the thumbnail. But it's going to be a party. Champions League music. We can hear it, and we will see you at 9 o'clock. Take care, guys.